Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining me for Friday Night Live. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a spirit navigator, psychic medium, and I predict politics, or at least that's what I'm going to be doing tonight. Going to be answering y'all's questions. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, I have another YouTube channel. If you're wondering, okay, Susan, the politics are horrible. I give up. I just need to learn how to live with it. Check out my other channel, Susan Lynn, Spiritual Way Shower on YouTube. Very simple videos on how to improve your life, right? How to grow your soul, how to figure out why was I or what was I thinking when I incarnated here? I mean, really, what was I thinking? I mean, I have the same question, but I do try to help you all. So, anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I see you in the chat. I see a lot of questions, and we are going to talk about a wide gamut of things. And I don't think I did it last week, but I will try to do the timestamps this week. It's been incredibly busy for me over here. If you get my newsletter, which is free, you understand what's going on in my life, and you also understand the spirit guides are channeling messages every single week. So if you got the newsletter today on Friday, then you know what's up. You can always get it at my website, susanlynnmedia.com. Go to the bottom where it says get connected and put your email address in, and you'll get it. And you'll get it once a week, and we won't bother you otherwise. And if you want to cancel, you can. So anyway, it's been crazy. Yes. Mary Blue Raven, thank you so much, because you're the one that I was scrolling the comments, and she said, hey, Susan, don't forget to turn on the slow mode. And I literally, every time you all do that, I jump. I'm like, because I usually have like 1 minute and 30 seconds. So I'm going over to YouTube and trying to adjust that. So thank you so much. Oh, that's sweet. I didn't even read your comment. Thank you, Mary Blue Raven. That's so sweet. I do turn off, maybe you've noticed this, first of all, there's no ads. I do not monetize this video. I personally do not like ads in the middle of my live streams. That's just my personal opinion. So I don't monetize these while I'm live. They will be monetized after I'm live. And if Google starts monetizing them, whether I want them to or not, in other words, I'm leaving money on the table that they want, then I'll have to do it. But until they make me do it, I'm not going to do it. And I would also say that I don't have, I'm just weird. Like, I'm just weird. Okay. Y'all know me. I don't have super stickers and stuff. But it's true that you can go to my website if you want to do a little donation. You can. Frankly, I'd rather you keep your money in your pocket and donate it to an animal shelter, or spend it on people that need help, including yourself. But thank you so much. It's so sweet of you. So yeah, I mean, I do make money off of these things that are monetized, but I don't like to monetize the live ones. It's just frustrating to be in a live video and have it be interrupted. Hey, Kevin's Loving's Vibrations is here. Whoop whoop. Thank you to all my all my moderators. T Barbara's like, yay, the notifications work for once. It's hit or miss, you guys, but try to click the bell. And if you click all notifications, you'll likely get them. But if you click personalized, you might not. So, but hey, if it's Friday night, I'm probably going to be here. So thank you so much for joining me. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Let's just dive in. I have 27 of your comments already starred. Let's just go through some of these, because in the beginning, we start this at 5 o'clock West Coast time, which means the West Coasters are, they're just getting off work or, switching gears. So they usually arrive at about an hour into this. So I really want to save some of the meatier things for the middle of the show, because that way I know that those people are here and they don't ask that question over and over again. Hey, about this. But let's dive in and talk about some interesting things all the same. Sacred Spirit says, do we see the United States splitting up? Now, I want to say that I want to say personally that I think it's not a good time to say unequivocally anything, right? Like, the energy is super sketchy, the guides are saying. And it is true, right? Because even in my own life, it's like, okay, you can do this. This is going to be golden. And then all of a sudden it doesn't work out. And I'm like, hey, what's up? On the phone with 1-800 Spirit Guides, press 9 for complaints. And they're like, yeah, we did our best. We did our best. It's like free will, this, that, other things got in the way. So let's not focus on things are black and white, because they're just not. So will the US split up? I feel like this is a 5, 10 year, 15 year thing, not a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year thing. Our country is just now coming to grips with how bad everything is. So that is going to be down the line when people really, we're on the front edge also, so remember that too. We're the first line of defense. We're the people who are like, hey, we feel something's off. We're using our cards, we're using our intuition, we're listening to people, we're dialed into nature. We're the first people, we're the scouts. The guides just called us the scouts. We are the ones who get the first information. That makes it hard on us, right? Because we're like, ooh, something bad is happening, or ooh, something feels off. And we don't quite know what it is. And then number two, it kind of depends on the collective response to that energy, right? Like now we're in a guessing game. Will they do this or will they do that? Or how will they react? That puts us in a very awkward situation energetically. So we all need to be grounding our energy a lot more right now. But I think that no, not immediately. I don't see that happening. I really think this is after we get over the bulk of this, and we're trying to say, wow, that whole Constitution thing didn't work out that well. How do we want to govern? And the guides just said the words irreconcilable differences. So it could be that 5, 10 years from now, that some regions, blue regions, or some states are like, we do not agree. We want to succeed. We want to do something different. And I think that energy picks up around, maybe starting in, we're getting it now, feel strong. Everybody else is basically asleep. They're not getting it. And I think that energy picks up closer to 5, 10 years down the road. But I do think it's possible. And I don't think it has to be scary. I don't think it has to be bad. It could actually be really good in the sense that there are groups, like this is the breadbasket of the country, right? Like their resources, their laws and everything benefit them, right? And then this part, it could be better. Who knows, right? I don't see it as this big failure right now. And even when it happens, I'm not sure I see it as a failure. Joyce says, will the economic situation become like the inflation of the 1970s? Yes, I think it might. And I don't think anything's going to be exactly the same. They say history rhymes, it doesn't repeat, right? So, and then astrologically, we're in a lot of the same planetary places that we were during some hard times. If you watch my video with Dabney, she goes through that, where she talks about, hey, we're going through the 1930s again. She really laid it out, where the astrology is going through these same hardships like the Depression, but it's not going to manifest the same because we're not the same. We're 2, 3 generations down from the Depression. We've learned things, right? We have new challenges that we're going to be learning. But I've said that I see gas lines just like the 1970s. I've been saying this for months. So I do see, and I also see stagflation. The guides are saying stagflation is very different. So you might need to Google it to understand. And through all of this process, knowledge is power. Because we are the scouts, because we are the people who know first, we can prepare. Maybe our job isn't to save the world or to save these other people. They have to learn their own lessons. Maybe our job is to prepare, right? So that we can be okay as much as possible. And then secondly, once we're okay, you bring the oxygen mask down on yourself first, even though you have a toddler, because if you fall out, the toddler has no one to help them, right? So as we prepare as much as we can, and we get to a place of, okay, I'm sorted, let me go help others. That's our position. So think if you switch your thinking from, I've got to save, I've got to call out, I've got to inform. You can't really wake them up. What we're here to do is when they come to us, we help them. So I think shifting your mindset could be very helpful during this time. The first thing is get yourself sorted. And the second thing is, if you can provide help, When people come to you, help them. Going out to offer help, going out to educate, going out to wake them up isn't our job, and it doesn't work. We know that with the MAGAs, right? Let me switch over here back to the live comments and see what you guys are saying. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. I hope you're supporting each other. And yeah, let's see what else you guys are talking about in here. La Sandina, will the inflation become like Argentina in the pesos crisis of the 1999s? Again, the guides are saying similar, but not exactly, because nothing is going to be repeated exactly. Once it's done, it's like the mold is broken. You can never repeat that, but you can repeat it in a way. You can have a flavor of it. So yes, I don't know what the Argentina peso crisis was, but the guides are saying yes in a way. And they're telling me, and I'm just telling you what they're telling me, that this connects to stagflation, that this connects to inflation, it connects to devaluation of the money. I don't know if this is true. This is what they're telling me. So I feel like we'll have a spike in some sort of devaluation, a crisis, as the guides are saying, but then it's a spike. So then it goes down, and then we have sort of a grind it out, that stagflation where you're just kind of, everything is kind of sucky, right? But I'm telling you, this is how diamonds are made. This is the guides. This isn't Susan. Believe me when I say this is not Susan, because I would be like, diamonds my ass. You can have your diamonds. I want my cushy couch, right? But it is true, like they're saying, when we go through these hardships, we are metal, the METTLE, our metal is tested, our fortitude is tested, and it also makes you choose, right? Because you're like, well, am I ready to really fight for this? And do I really believe we need a safety net? Do I really believe we need equality? Am I really ready to put my money where my mouth is, so to speak? So yeah, but I do think it has some sort of connection there, whatever that is. I love the way I'm just scrolling and I see NZ Sales say, I believe the Bahamas do not allow felons to enter. And how do we all know who they are talking about? We do. We know who. Let's see. Diane says, okay, what do you say? Great to see you. Great to see you too. Can you look up the following SEC detrimental IPO overhaul? I have no idea what you're speaking a whole different language to me. Bill HR 1846 to abolish the reserve. Oh, shoot. I am concerned now that he got rid of Powell. Oh, wow. He wants to abolish the Federal Reserve. Well, of course he does. That's kind of what I've been talking about, money. I mean, do you guys watch Thoreau's Apprentice? Because I love him and I love Petty Boots, and he has Johnny Bucks. He has money that he writes on a piece of paper that just says Johnny Bucks on it. This is what I feel like we're at. It's like Trump bucks. He just wants our monetary system to be his. He's a king. He's got an authoritarian mentality, and he wants all of it. He wants every last ounce. He wants you to name your babies after him. He wants everything, right? The megalomaniac energy. So yes, he does want that, but I don't see that happening because there's too many other people that make a lot of money. The problem is the guides just showed me those like 5 billionaires that were behind him when I think they were behind him when he was sworn in, or some close time after that, right? Like Bezos and all of them, the Facebook guy. He has those people in his pocket, and they represent more money than God. I hate to say, it's almost literally true. And they're making a move. The guides are saying they're making moves towards this. They're doing the administrative jockeying, the guides are saying, to get this done. But they're saying they won't be successful. However, They won't be successful. However, there will be damage to the system. It's like, look, this is the spirit guides. Again, you know who to call. It's like back in the day. Let's go way back in the day. Why not? Because it was better then in some ways. I mean, it was sucky, but somehow better. I don't know. Remember when we had tape decks in our dash? Remember? And people would steal your tape deck and they would just try to cut the wires, or you would open the door and there'd just be wires coming out of your dash. Anyway, why that is a metaphor is because they're in there mucking around and moving things and breaking things, and they don't know how to take it and use it, right? It's like if a bunch of these same people stole our spaceship and we're like, we can fly this. No, they're going to fly it and crash it. This is what they're going to do to the Federal Reserve. They're going to crash it. And then somebody, that's supposed to do this kind of work is going to go in and repair it. So there is damages to the Federal Reserve, but I don't see them taking it over. And damages are not great because because the guides are saying it makes a possibility for some if you create a hole in something, somebody else can sneak in, right? Somebody else can sneak in and put some code or something. It's just a mess. And the whole thing is about dissolving. I don't know if you guys remember last year, the guides said dissolution all the time. And I was like, I don't know what they're talking about. Well, here we are, right? And this is also supported by the astrology, that all these institutions are dissolving. Like we predicted that news media would dissolve. Here they are. I think Hollywood is going to dissolve. I think the way our medical system runs is going to dissolve. That's not pretty, right? Like sometimes we want a better version, but that process of transformation can be damaging sometimes. Okay, here's a great question by Mary Stitch. Hey, Susan, was the election rigged against Massie? Some said the results look suspicious. They look very suspicious because apparently a large number of new voters, like an outsized, a statistically unusually large number of new voters participated in this election. But the thing that's unnerved me about Massie and about this election is I saw, and I didn't have the volume on, but I saw Massie at his, I defeated speech. And he had this weird happiness, like super. Now the crowd was, according to reporting, the crowd was super supportive of him, and they were chanting and they were carrying on, and maybe that made him feel vindicated, and maybe that's why he was happy. But I don't think so energetically, and I encourage you guys, if you have the stomach for it, to go watch that and see what you think. But something else was on, almost like there's a game afoot here, because the guy who won categorically had a somber, he just won, and he had sort of a low key, like, yeah, thanks everybody. But yet Massie was just like, rah, rah, rah. Well, what, how does that, so I know, right? I think it was rigged, but I also want you guys to understand, I don't want you to just keep looking at one angle. It was rigged. I want you to look at why. I want you to look at, what does Massie have to gain? I want you to look at, what does this other guy have to gain? I want you to look at who could be behind it. This is where we are now. We are going to be playing 5D chess, because we need to know all the details and not just what we see, right? So I do think it was rigged, but remember how the guide said that we would see people triple crossed and quadruple crossed? Remember? This is where we are. Like it looks like Massie was rigged and upset, but then Massie looks happy about it. So there's multiple things happening here that just don't make any sense at all. So yeah, listen to music to change your energy is very important. Thank you, Stiff. What's this in Australian? Did I click the right one? Yes. MST says in Australian colloquialism, they couldn't run a choco vine over a have no idea what that means, but I think in your parlance that it has a lot of meaning. So that's pretty interesting. That's hilarious. I just picked these things that spirit tells me to, and then I'm reading it and I'm like, what? Right. So there you have it, 150,000 votes dropped all of a sudden for the other dude. Yes, it doesn't, I don't think Massie's going to talk, you guys. I'm going to say some things during this broadcast that are, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm not hearing what I want to hear. I'm hearing what the guides are saying. Everything plus what they get is, I could be translating it wrong, or it could be open to, different things happening. But I don't see Massie talking now. I think he's going to be, to me, he looks like Adam Kinzinger, right? He's going to be on the sidelines taking pot shots. He's going to be on Fox. He's going to be having a podcast. It's almost like he got out of the fire and now he can make a lot of money in the private sector. And when Congress just crumbles, or the Republicans in Congress and some Democrats crumble, he can walk around the ashes the way I always saw, who, doing that, right? So he can walk around the ashes left over, make sure there's no fire burning, and then set up camp. So he's basically, it's a positioning. But I'm wondering if some portion of a Republican Party isn't in on this. Like, look, we need some people to be able to come back in power and do the thing. So we're going to take some of y'all, like Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, you're going to be on the outside and you're going to come in and create the new party. They see the writing on the wall. They know this thing it's the Hindenburg. The guides just called this the Hindenburg. They know that it's going to crash and burn. Okay. But I think I would caution us all against getting excited that he's going to be some voice for truth and Lone Ranger the way we often thought Anonymous would be. But Anonymous has never come through for us. They tease us and then they leave us at the altar, right? And we never get it. So I wouldn't put a lot of faith in these people becoming some sort of messiah or hero. Yeah. So let's keep going. I don't think they're going to do a recount. If they do, it will be for looks only, the guides are saying. I don't think he's going to reveal their ways. Anything. Yeah. See, this is what I'm saying right here. I am, says Massie looked like the cat who swallowed the canary. He had that look on his face. And I was like, I've seen a lot of people lose. Unfortunately, as a Democrat, I've seen a lot of people lose. And that didn't look like a guy who lost. Okay. We're going to talk about Mark Cuban shortly, because that's another one who didn't look like a guy who made a deal with the devil. We're going to get into it. Believe me. It's not the Constitution that's failing. What I think is happening there is that we thought the Constitution was unassailable. The guides are saying, right? Unassailable. It was a castle on the hill. But there's so many holes in there because we haven't updated it. And I've always said these Heritage Foundation folks have hired the brightest minds right out of law school and just given them offices. All they do is comb through the Constitution to figure out how can they beat it, right? That's what a crook does. A crook cases your house. How can I get in? What is their routine? Where is an empty spot? Where is a place there's not a camera, right? That's what a crook does. We're not crooks. We're not looking through the Constitution going, how can I beat this? That's why I said one time, we should study them as much as they study us. We should study our vulnerabilities more than we are, because there are always vulnerabilities. Nothing is ever unassailable. So that's what I say that's what I mean when I say that. Back to La Sandina says, when? You're already saying it's going to happen. All right, girl. When will China make move on Taiwan? Will China be successful? I've read on this before. Listen, again, everything is in movement. Everything is in flux. But the way I think China's going to do this, because look, China's powerful, but they still got to make nice with Australia, right? With who has a big, wants to make sure that Taiwan is okay. They need to make nice with Canada. They need to make nice with Europe. They don't want to be seen as Russia, even though, on the inside they are, but on the outside, they want to be the wolf dressed up as grandma. So I feel like what they'll do is pressure Taiwan, because now there's no US help whatsoever, zero. I think they're going to pressure Taiwan to do what they want. They're going to bully Taiwan. And that might come through a stick and I had this problem last time. I couldn't remember, stick and a carrot. So, hey, we'll give you this. And if Taiwan says, no, we don't want it, then they're going to wallop you with the stick. Well, you should have taken our offer. You know what I mean? That's like the mob. Hey, we're going to protect you. I don't need any protection. I'm fine. Oh, guess what? Your legs just got broken. Looks like you need protection. That's what I see them doing with Taiwan. I don't see them militarily taking over, because the guides are saying the world stage is a tinderbox, and everybody is itchy. And so you don't really want the world to get itchier, meaning all of these countries and their tariffs and their sanctions and their military. So China I don't see them doing that. I see them doing it in a different way. And they may even pull it off to look like different countries are like, Taiwan, you should have taken that deal. That was a really good deal, right? Like when they're going to tell us, because this is what's going to happen, you guys should be happy with this billionaire Democrat. What's wrong with you? You can't even see a good thing when it's right in front of you. That's what they're going to tell us. Trust me, we're going to talk about it, but that's what they're going to tell Taiwan. And Taiwan is going to be like, this is terrible. We're giving away our autonomy. And certain countries are going to be like, well, guess what? It's better to give away your autonomy than to have, to be speaking Chinese, right? So this is where we are. It might look rough. Sorry, I clicked on that, but I'll click on it again. Yeah, Massie's reaction was really strange. Israel behind this. Israel's behind almost everything. I'm just going to say that and leave it there. Why would I just love that you guys have so much good in your heart that you can see good in others' hearts. Because to me, I don't have that in the human equation of this thing that's happening right now. I'm like, why would Junior have his wedding where his father can't go? Maybe he doesn't want him there. I mean, there's no love here. This is not a family that loves each other. This is a family built on duty, built on I got slapped, built on I need to get my check this month. So I think that I also don't think it's so that his father can't go. I think God, there's so much. I don't think Trump would go. Trump doesn't love anything. He's a narcissist, a sociopath, a psychopath, a whole bunch of paths that I don't know because I don't have a degree. But yeah, he wouldn't go even if a Junior had it in the Oval Office, he would find a reason to not go. He can't stand anybody else having success or the spotlight than him. He can't. Let's see. Lisa says you have a child receiving Section 8 housing and Medicaid. Oh boy, will Trump throw millions back on it? Yes, I just saw Miller. This is a Miller thing. I mean, Trump would only throw them on the street if he didn't get paid. Like it's all about money for him. Miller, it's about class warfare, pain, subjugation. That's what I'm heard here as subjugation. So yes, they will do this. And then the guides are saying that there will be a new business that will pop up overnight that will offer those people some sort of deal, right? And then the government will say, oh, we'll fund it now. Do you see what I'm saying? There's going to be a grift that's going to appear out of thin air, and then the government's going to fund the grift, and then those people are going to get help, except for I think they're going to get about maybe half as much help. But so what they're doing is decoupling it from the government. Then they're going to put in a third party, which they're going to grift from. It's disgusting. So what I would say is, look, I told you this is not, I think everything is going to be okay because we are resilient. You cannot beat us. Look at our history. Spend tonight looking at our history and tell me you can beat us. You can't. And now mostly, I don't know about white people, but you can't beat anybody else because they're still here and still living and still thriving. We're like we're not quite as resilient, white people, but we're fixing to learn, let me tell you. So we will be resilient. We're going to find ways to do this. We're going to find ways to support each other. I think it also is going to be helpful to understand that it's not going to be like it was, right? If you got rental help, you might not get it. You might get it from the state. It's just not going to be the same way it was. So let's be flexible and let's become our own advocates, right? So if you're not getting the help that you need, I would suggest that you find others that aren't getting help that they need and then go get on your local mayor's doorstep. I'm not kidding. Get on your governor's doorstep and become a problem. Get on TV. If we go back into our homes or we live in our cars, we disappear. And then you make it very easy for them to disappear us. If we get together in numbers, online or in person, then we become a force to be reckoned with. And I always use this because, and I don't know why the spirit guides always use this, but they do. Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. Do you, and look, all the things, I'm remembering that video I did with Dabney, the astrologer. She talked about the suffragettes. She talked about the prohibition. Do you know women are the ones who started prohibition because they were like, all our husbands are down at the bar getting drunk and I'm over here penniless, have kids, and I'm starving. And our kids are starving. They actually started that movement. And then when it got switched over, they started going to the bars, right? Then you had the roaring 20s. We need to look at the history and understand think about the coal miners. I don't know why the guides are saying that. We've been through some incredibly hard things. We're going through them now, but we're going to get through them because we've always gotten through them, right? We just can't always rely on something else. We may have to figure out something new, some new creative way to support ourselves, right? Again, like crowdfunding. If you can get 3 people that used to be on Medicare and their Medicare is cut, but they can support each other, there might be a way to actually make that work. Or like, we have to be creative. We can't just give up. This is not the time to give up. This is the time to get mad. This is the time to get in the streets. This is the time to advocate for ourselves. So, and I know it's hard, and I'm sorry that it is, but there are ways out of this. Again, it's like the diamond thing. Anyway, Jay Jane says, will Elon tell about the 2024 election? I don't think so because he's complicit. And that man is a he's a weakling. He's like he's terrified of everything. He has no backbone. He will be screaming. They're telling me he will be screaming about this. He'll sound like a crazy person as they're removing him from the courtroom. And people will say that's the rantings and ravings of a madman. So I feel like a lot of this justice is going to happen for the wrong reasons, right? So he gets removed because of his SEC, Securities Exchange, or some kind of thing that might happen as far as money goes, right? So look, I hope I'm wrong, but I've never seen this election stuff really becoming. Look, the guides are saying, and they said this last Friday too, it is really, really, really accepted in very high level. Presidents, fighter pilots, generals have all seen UFOs, UAPs. All of them have seen them. Obama said he corrected the guy and said, no, they're in the mountains. Obama. But do we think the disclosure has happened? No. Does the public believe it? No. Same thing. we're all going to know the election was rigged, but the consciousness of the people aren't ready to accept that. You can give them proof. They're not going to accept it. All we can do is continue to work towards fixing the problem, right? That I hope I'm wrong, but that's just what I've always gotten, right? Yeah, Liz Cheney. Y'all know if you say Liz Cheney, I'm gonna like I'm gonna see red and I'm gonna freak out. She just because she's a formidable opponent, right? People that haven't watched me very long, the guides always said Liz Cheney is a formidable opponent. She's not your friend. You know, sometimes these people are our friends, like Massie for a minute, like Mark Cuban, and then their real colors come through and they turn on us. Right, there you go. Massie voted against anti-lynching. Right. What the hell? That is not a hero. That is an asshole, frankly. Oh, you're never late. Thanks for coming in. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid. I appreciate you. Yeah, he's a wolf in exactly, Kevin. He's a wolf in Kevin in sheep's clothing. Grandma. He's grandma and he got whiskers. I mean, a beard and whiskers and a tail. Man ain't no grandma. Yeah. Thank you all to my moderators. I appreciate you. Okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. We're at a place where I think almost half of us are here. More than half of us are here. Usually I'm at about 4,000. We're at 3,000 now. So listen, if y'all haven't seen this, I want you can open up another browser, or you can do this later, or you cannot do it. But if you Google the video, his name is Robert Harwood. Robert Harward, Harward. This dude was, I think he was a SEAL. I mean, he was way up in the military. He was working at Lockheed Martin for the Emirates. He's very, very highly sourced dude. Okay. Now, this guy is on Fox News, except for that while he's on Fox News, there's a part of his neck, that is not connected. It's not connected. It's gaping. There's a gaping thing happening here. And as he's talking, it's moving around. And then you look at his neck right here and it's bulging. That's not as easy to see as this gaping hole. So apparently, while he was talking very coherently and intellectually on Fox News, Fox viewers are like, hey, what's going on with this guy? Is he okay? You know, like he looks like he had a tracheotomy that nobody ever fixed. There's no trach in there, but I don't even think it's in the right place. Then the other thing I thought was interesting, this woman wrote in on one of the videos and she said, my husband has a cleft chin. This dude has a cleft chin. All of his videos, look, he's not a youngster. He's got lots and lots of videos and pictures out there. But in the video with the disembodied neck, his cleft chin is gone. He doesn't have it. And she's like, you can't get rid of a cleft chin. So my point is, obviously, this is either AI or this is a mask. I mean, a mask. If it's a mask, it's really good because you can see his. So, you know, here's what I want you all to put your thinking caps on about. And I also want you to put your spidey intuitive senses in, because videos, live videos, not this one, but live videos, you know, like MSNBC, Fox News, whatever, they have a delay. You know, there's like 3-5 second delay, like on Colbert or something. Like as somebody, if they got some rock star and they say the F word, then it gives the engineers time to go bleep. That's how that happens. They hear it, then they can bleep it before it goes to you. Here's my point. This video is long. It's a minute or 2 minutes long, and they didn't ever cut it out. They never stopped transmission. They just let it go. Okay. So you have somebody in the engineer's room watching this and not making a phone call, not pressing a button, not switching over to the anchor. Okay. Number one. Number two, if there's somebody in the engineer room doing that, you better believe there's a producer. And then you better believe there's an executive producer. And then you better believe there's a whole lot of other people who know about this, bizarre, gaping hole. You've got to Google it. If you even just Google man on Fox video neck hole AI, you'll see all kinds of things. But I want you to watch the video, the actual video from Fox. I mean, whoever it's from, it's a video captured from Fox. And it could be a mask, right? Like this is saying from Mrs. Doubtfire. But here's where we have to do this. This is our job. You want to know what our job is? This is our job. Why? We have to figure out discernment. Why? What does Fox News get by putting something out there that looks so fake? Why would they do that? What is their angle? Why would Trump not say something about it? Why would freaking Democrats in the House or the Senate not be on TV going, hey, what's going on with Fox over there? Nobody's questioning this that I can tell. Maybe there are, but I don't see it. There's an angle here. I need you guys to understand. Okay. And I think the angle is kind of sinister, according to my spirit guides. The angle is, well, maybe it wasn't even Harvard. This is the Fox News people are like, is he okay? Like, did y'all kill him and y'all got somebody else out here? You know, this happened with who's the guy? He's a really popular actor. It happened with him too. He was out and he had a weird line on his neck. And I was like, y'all, that's not normal. That is not normal. That's a mask. And people were like, wait, what? That's not a mask. Jim Carrey, thank you. I told you then, I'm like, that's a mask. So you see that what we're having here, especially on Fox News, and so this guy, what was he talking about? Iran. He was saying how Trump has got Iran under his thumb and how there's a big religious holiday right now. And if Trump wanted to, he could take a lot of people out. That's what he was saying. So here's the thing, right? If Fox News is condoning this, what they're doing is they're proving to their own viewers, you cannot trust us. You cannot trust what you see. Don't trust anything. I'm telling you this. What you tell me, why would Fox do this? You tell me. They didn't have to do this. We know they didn't have to do this. Come on. They have a delay. They could switch over to another. Oh, well, sorry, his mic went out. No, we'll get him back. No, they let him talk. So they're co-signing this. And I feel like here's the reason. The reason is they want to destabilize even their own viewers. They want everybody to be freaking out, and especially their viewers, that maybe some aliens have taken over the country and now they need to arm up and stay in their homes, or I mean, really, I'm not joking here. They've been trying to take us over. That's very evident. It's very evident. They haven't been able to because we're resilient. So if they start showing us things on TV that make us feel like super unsafe, then they can create a police state. They can create a police situation where they then go in and say, okay, y'all have lost your minds. We're doing a curfew. And the Fox people will like that. The MAGAs will like that because they're thinking that the lizards are out there in the streets and they've eaten this Navy SEAL and they're coming for them next. Okay. Y'all come up with your own reason, but there's a reason. Okay. There's a reason. We've known forever Fox isn't trustworthy. Speaking of, will they continue to exist in our future? No, I don't think so, because this is all has to fall apart. It all has to just dissolve, because look, who are we as a nation if we can allow one of the biggest news sources to put up a video of a guy wearing a mask or some kind of, and we don't even care, we just go on about our business, that is not a nation that's we're not serious people. So something has to happen with that. Now, I don't think, yeah, Snopes is sometimes bought. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. Snopes has been bought out. But anyway, yeah, I'm glad I didn't see that when I was stoned. Exactly. Can you imagine? I do think Fox will go off the air. I do. But not soon enough. Okay. Let's see what else. Yeah, the wrinkles. But I mean, the question is why. I want you guys to just think why, right? Because if we can figure out their motive, then we can prepare, right? We can prepare for what's going to happen because we'll understand what they're trying to do. That makes us in a better position, right? That's what we need. That's what we need to find out. Wow. So Sally's saying her dad did maxillofacial reconstruction for veterans for years, and this can be very realistic. Well, the problem with this guy is he's got lots of videos where he doesn't have a war wound. He doesn't have there's no reporting of him having any sort of war wound. He was on lots of videos. He's been on videos forever and ever and ever, but now all of a sudden, so then another question is, did this guy get injured, disfigured in some way? Number one. Number two, why would he go on Fox News? Number three, why wouldn't they do a better job? Look, he could have wore a tie. Let's be critical. Let's think critical. He could have worn a tie and that thing wouldn't have shown. They wanted you to see it. They wanted you to see it. I'm telling you, you have to think about these things. I want you to think about things for 360 degrees. Don't just think about it from what Susan says. Think about it from me and 5 other sources and your own self. Yeah, confused and divide. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, it was just a distraction. I like this. Sleepy Heart says, stop freaking out. It was just a distraction. Okay. Yeah. Well, distractions are bad, frankly. Right. So he's also a former Raytheon exec. I'm saying this dude is very connected. Yeah, he could be retired. He could be have been deleted. But again, if he was deleted, there's no reason for him to be on the screen. Unless, in my opinion, unless he's been deleted, somebody out there knows he's been deleted or doesn't know, and then they're seeing him and they're seeing the mask, and it's a message to them. Oh my God, they got him. He's dead because here's this fake version of him. So it could be a message, right, to somebody. But also, it's destabilization. It's very destabilizing. Yeah, right there. Fall to exhaustion. Right. We're going to be exhausted and we're just not going to be able to. That's why I'm telling you guys, right? We're not the ones that need to be woken up. We're awake. We're in control. We know what's happening. We know to ground our energy. We know to take care of ourselves. We know we're going to be prepared when all this, whatever goes down, goes down. We're going to be prepared for it. Let's see what else you guys are talking about. I also want to talk about Steyer. Let's see. I don't know. I'm not sure if I understand your question. I've seen you ask it. Is anything going to happen with Oregon, on the blue moon on May 31st? I guess you're saying that you've either gotten intuition or somebody has said some big thing is going to happen on Oregon on the blue moon on May 31st. Let me tell you something. This is my take on it. Do you guys remember 2012? Do you remember the Mayan calendar? Do you remember 2000 when we were all gonna the millennium when we were all gonna die because our computers didn't know how to count to 2001. A lot of things happened in 2012. A lot of things probably happened in 2000, but not that day. Energy is big. And when you're talking about energy that would affect a whole state or a whole region, in my opinion, it takes a long time to form. So I am not sure that I'm going to see something massive happen exactly on May 31st, exactly on the full moon, exactly in the state of Oregon. I think what can happen is that is the beginning. Like I told you guys, Easter of 2026, something hatched Easter of 2026. It wouldn't be seen till much later, but a plan, an event, a series of things hatched. This could be the same thing for the blue moon, May 31st. And I would just tell you guys, when people predict things that are going to happen on a specific day, go back and double check. And if it really, if more often than not, things happen when they say they're going to happen on this blood moon, they're going to happen on this, they're going to happen on that, including myself. If it's true, if it's more often than not, yes, it does happen. Great. More often than not, if it doesn't happen, it just proves my point that I don't think things often happen on a specific day, even if it's planned. The other thing is we're all tuned into the consciousness. So it's so confusing because we're like, ooh, something's going to happen around Hitler's birthday. Ooh, something's going to happen around the 4th of July. I feel it. I feel it. Will one of the 5,000 people trying to make that happen be successful? Will one of the 5 people trying to make that happen be successful? It's not written in stone. It's all about free will and so many moving parts, right? So that's why I say bring the energy back to you. If you're good, if you're taking care of you, you're good. We already said it. Put the oxygen mask on yourself. Once you've got it on yourself, don't go looking to help people. That's a big problem that we have here. Just be you. Put up your little thing and say, hey, if you need help, I might be able to help you. I'm not going to drown myself trying to save you, but if I can share some food, share some resources, share a hug, I'm going to help you. But they have to come to you, right? I think we just lose so much energy worrying about these things that are going to happen that never happen or that we can't control, right? So I give you information because I want you to take it like, okay, if the economy is going to go into stagflation, what can I do to make myself better situated for that, right? And I'm just one person, right? What do I know? Literally. Um, yeah, if we believe them, we'll become stuck in the fear loop. But at the same time, you have to think about those people that left Nazi Germany in time to save themselves, right? So I'm not saying we have to leave. I'm saying on one hand, we have to pay attention and follow our own intuition and take care of ourselves, right? On the other hand, if all we're doing is in a fear loop, then we're not doing those things, right? I just want to say that it's not a good idea to just ignore everything. I think it's a good idea to sort of source it out. Is this real? Would this impact me without buying a whole Costco full of food? Can I get through a week? Right? Just be reasonable and use critical thinking maybe on some of this stuff. Yeah. Let's see what else you guys are talking about. 2028 presidency. Who will it be? Unknown like Obama, or is it a current senator governor? I um I think it's going to be somebody unknown. That's what I'm getting right now. Maybe, like Obama was known in some circles, right? But like, I didn't know anything about, really, I didn't know anything about Kamala Harris, and I didn't know anything about Tim Walz. But so I think it could be something like that. Yes, they have credentials, but they're not well known. Now, in the race, I think everybody's going to be in the race. I mean, I think AOC, Kamala, I think everybody's going to be in the race. But the person who wins could be an underdog, is what I'm getting. I do not consent. That's true. That's a really good thing. That's really good. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about this guy who went on Fox News, who is He's a very decorated military Navy veteran. He works at Raytheon. He's worked with the what did he work with? Lockheed Martin. Um, he's been a talking head about politics. He's a Trumper, and he showed up on Fox News wearing some kind of mask where you could see the mask. You could see the mask moving when he was talking clearly. And why didn't he wear a coat? Why didn't he wear a tie? They would cover it up. Instead, he wore an open shirt. That's what I'm talking about. Why did they do that? What was the point? Um, Tulsi out in June, real reason for resignation. I saw that. I think that the real reason it feels a little bit like Massie in the sense that this cabal, the cabinet, the administration, and in some ways the Republican Party is starting to like crater in on itself, right? It's starting to like have this kind of implosion, and some of these people are going to try to get out so that they can stay. They're showing me Roger Stone, right? Like he survived the Nixon debacle only to come back however many decades later and be another, thorn, right? So these people understand. They want to be agents of chaos or whatever. So they're not going to just die with the team. That's not their team. They're being paid by other people, right? So that's why I think that's she's going to get out before the thing implodes, and then she'll circle back around, just like Roger Stone. She'll show up 5 years from now, 10 years from now. It's crazy, really. See, my love seeker wasn't the same guy. He didn't even have the same voice or wrinkles. He didn't have the cleft chin. That's what I'm saying. Like it was a good mask in the sense that it moved with his mouth. I mean, if you didn't know he had the cleft chin and you didn't see a gaping hole right here, you might not even notice it. They really wanted us to see that. And I think that is the most important thing that we need to think about. Why did they want us to see it? Someone said he sold his likeness to Fox so that means they could do these sort of shenanigans. I mean, remember when they were asking you for permission to use your face? Remember when actors were saying no? Remember that? Because they were asking actors, hey, sign here. And then once we have you all, meshed out with AI, we can put you in a starring role. And I mean, listen, even if that's the case, I'm telling you, they could have done this and nobody would have ever known. They wanted us to know. Why did they want us to know? That's what I want you to focus on, not the fact that they did it, because they could have covered it up and then we would have never known. They wanted us to know. They wanted somebody to know, right? And maybe it is just a distraction, right? Maybe that is what it is. Let's see what else. There was a green. Now it is true. One person was trying to say on social media, there's a green screen, and what happened was part of his skin matched the green screen, and then it was just etching out. That's not true. Anybody that's done Zoom will know when somebody raises their hand disappears, right? Because the hand and the green screen gets lost. This was his neck. Things don't disappear on your solid body. It's when something gets out here and they can't follow the hands. That's when the hands disappear. The middle of your body, and this part that was disappearing was very real, and it was in the same place all the time. So it wasn't a green screen glitch. Oh, Connie, I'm going to send prayers for your grandson, Wyatt. He's had vertigo and into MRI soon. Yes, we're sending your grandson, Wyatt, lots of prayers. He has lots of angelic energy around him. There's a grandmother near him. I don't know if it's a grandmother in spirit or a grandmother figure. It could be. The grandmother energy doesn't necessarily have to be blood. It can be someone that was a neighbor that was like a grandmother, or a teacher that was like a grandmother. So there's a grandmother energy around Wyatt. but we're going to give him lots and lots of prayers. I'm so sorry. I hope they figure that out really soon. What will happen to Jasmine Crockett? Well, she is really the guides always use this word pugilistic, right? For boxing, like she's a fighter. I honestly kind of think that her moving out actually kind of protected her in a way. Like she was doing real damage to them and their cause. And I think that getting her out of the way actually protected her. Um, she's not going anywhere. She's not going anywhere. I see a group of these well, she's going to start a new group. Like, I think Kamala Harris has her own pack. I think Jasmine Crockett's going to have a pack. I think Jasmine Crockett is going to try to do a little bit of what Kamala Harris is doing and Stacey Abrams did, which is like community building, where and what Obama did so well. I think they're going to try to just get in the communities and bring these communities together, right? Because we got to support each other through this time, because we're not going to have the government to support us in any way, shape, or form, but also because she's trying to empower people. So she's not gone. She's just recalibrating. And I'll say something else about Jasmine Crockett as I'm in her energy. This was a mistake by this administration and the Republican Party, because the last thing you want is a Jasmine Crockett that's been well rested. The last thing you want is a Jasmine Crockett that's had 6 months or a year to just get her health and get her own life back. She's going to be 10 times the Jasmine Crockett she was before. She's going to come out like well rested, and woo, they're going to be sorry they ever did that. Yeah, I think that's true, actually. I do think he's haunted in his sleep. Trump is haunted in his sleep. I think there's ghosts in the White House, but I think you think about all the horrors that he has done. Think about all the dead people that hate him. Think about that, all the victims. It's not just ghosts in the White House. This man has a traveling entourage of ghosts that do nothing but like slap him and harass him, and it's really ugly. 2 more scientists dead. Jesus Christ. If that's like 12 or 13 now. Okay, I'm just saying. People believe that they're safe. People believe that this is the United States of America that was in action, operating 3 years ago. And this isn't the same place. There is no DOJ. There's no protection. So these scientists should be hiding out. But instead, they're just not believing because they're scientists. I guess they need the data and they're getting the data. So pretty soon they'll get the data and they'll start hiding out because they are being hunted. And it's because of this free energy, because of this, they're catching on to things that are going to, and this is not just our country that are hunting these scientists. There are other countries, potentially, allegedly, like China, because they don't want this power given to the people. They don't want us to have free energy. They want us to be beholden to oil, so, and to coal and to whatever else that they want us to have. Okay, Lockheed. Yeah, I saw Lockheed. For that guy, his name is Robert Harward. Look up Robert Harward video on Fox and just be prepared. Yeah, he's just a reptilian. I mean, I'm telling you guys, when you watch the video, this area is bulgy, not really big. Like you can't stop watching the neck, but then you're like, what's going on? Does this man have some like thyroid issues or something? Yeah, I mean, sure, for sure. For sure, for sure. We're talking about the guy on Fox News that had the hole in his neck. Let me get to the bottom. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate you. I'm Susan Lynn. I predict politics, and I also offer lots of spiritual help on my other channel where it's all focused on helping you, which is Susan Lynn Spiritual Wayshower. And I have an online community, which is free, Lighthouse Keepers Crew, literally free, not on Meta, not on any of this BS. It's separate on Mighty Networks. And There's no ads, there's no trolls, no, your data is not being sold. You can hang out and chat with each other. I pay the bills. Then I have a paid community where I'm with you 6 hours a month. 6 hours a month. This is like a college course, right? Okay. So that's also there. Go to susanlynnmedium.com or scan that QR code and you can learn all about it. Thank you so much. I mean, Mrs. Doubtfire updated, Mrs. Doubtfire like annihilated, like golly, terrible. Yeah. You were a whistleblower? Oh man. Nathan Street says, I found out how corrupt the DOJ was 8 years ago as a whistleblower. I'm very unimpressed with Obama. He threw significant whistleblowers under the bus during his tenure. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm telling you, these people that are in the presidency, I'm not making excuses. Trust me when I say I'm not. But when I go into the energy, here's what they think. And I think this sucks, but also the guides are saying this happens in triage. Nurses, doctors, veterans, tell me. But if you're in a battlefield and you can't save this patient, but you can save, if you can save 5 patients or 1 patient, you're going to save 5. You're going to let 1 go. That it's not good, but you have to make these decisions. And what I feel that what Obama did was he said, if I act on this whistleblower information, this company is going to go down. Their stock is going to go down. They're going to go out of business, and 20,000 jobs are going to be lost. 5,000 jobs are going to be lost. 500 jobs are going to be lost. Do I let 500 people go poor, go hungry, lose their houses, or do I let this company off the hook and slap their hand and tell them to stop doing this? The corporate media, they have us in a stranglehold. They have us in a stranglehold. So I think some of these decent presidents, and he didn't do everything I liked either. No president's going to do everything we like. But I mean, for you, it was personal. So I get it. And I'm sorry that happened to you because we want to believe in justice, right? We want to believe in that. But I will never forget when the guides showed me the scales of justice move. They're balancing. Sometimes the bad people are winning, sometimes the good people are winning, but it's never equal. That's a farce. So, I'm sorry that happened to you. It sucks. Maybe he regrets that, but I really think that sometimes they think I have to do what's for the better good, and the corporations have us in a stranglehold. They really do. It's like, oh, you want to sanction me? Well, guess what? I'll lay off 5,000 people. How you like that? How are you going to get reelected if I lay off 5,000 people? It's you see what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. Clinton did things I didn't like. Believe me, they all did things I didn't like. Trust me. But I just explaining the energy as I can read it, right? I'm not saying we should give them a free pass. I'm just saying it's not an easy black and white thing, I guess. Yeah, if you hit the thumbs up, people will know this is live. Apparently, when it's a live video, the thumbs up thing helps YouTube push it out to other people, or all the people that aren't getting the notification right now because YouTube doesn't do that, might help them know that I'm on. Are there bounties out on Trump and Nettie from? Yes, I do think so, because regardless of what's happening in Iran's upper echelon, regardless of that, because I think that's different than what's happening down here, there are a groundswell of Iran. I'm reading energy, okay? Iranians are patriotic, for lack of a better word. They're very proud people of their country. They're proud of their culture. They're proud. They're proud, and they're tired of being treated some kind of way. So I do think that a lone wolf could get loose and do some damage. Yes, I do think so, for sure. Look, they would do it without the money. They don't need money. They're going to do this out of their own, Yeah, they don't need money. They don't need money, but they are trying to do it. Yes. Build his Arc of Triumph. Oh God, there's so many horrible things to even think about right now. Laura Wright says Trump has started to build his Arc of Triumph illegally. The base is being built now. Will it be stopped? What I think is that what I'm getting is that the it's faulty. It's I kind of see this image of steel, like maybe that's the inside, maybe it's going to be plaster or concrete or something, but you know how they put a steel on the inside? Anyway, I see rebar and I see it rusting. I feel like it's going to be what is an epitaph? Is that like God darn it. I mean, I know these words, I'm a reader, but then they say these things and I want to what is an epitaph? Epitaph. Um and I can't type either. Epitaph definition. What are you saying? It's a short text phrase or poem written in memory of a deceased person. It's inscribed on his tombstone, plaque, or monument. So it's going to be a visual epitaph of his tenure. We may even leave it up as a way to memorialize how horrible he was. So it's like this rusted, disfigured thing that still has some gold, it still has some visual representation of the grift, but it's also just been spray painted. Uh, yeah, I think it's going to actually be something we leave up as a memorial to how bad he was. I don't think it's ever going to get actually built. Um, but here's the other thing the guides are saying. It's not about the ark. It's about him charging us $5 billion or $100 billion to build it. This is yeah, he wants an ark, but it's really a grift. It's really the grift, and that's where I think he's going to go down for treason. Is all the grift and the secrets that he's selling to everybody. Um, here's a Canadian coming in hot. Maple syrup everywhere. All right, Tara Douglas says, as a Canadian, I believe Carney is compromised, supporting big corporations, big oil, new pipelines, slashing social programs. What do your guides say? I've read a lot on Carney, and you're not going to like what I have to say. Actually, this makes so much sense. Oh, don't be surprised in a year if I don't disappear to some foreign place and pretend like I can't speak any language. Okay. Because it's just hard to read this shit. Okay, anyway. So Carney is not bad. This is I'm channeling you guys. I'm channeling. I may not the views expressed here may or may not represent Susan Lynn's views. Okay, I'm gonna start saying that. He's not a bad person, but here's the thing. He's always been conservative. He's never been a progressive liberal. Let's just make sure we understand that. And then secondly, when I go into his energy, he's about, I've said this many times, I'm planning for my great great grandkids. How are my great great grandkids going to be living? What deals can I make now so that Canada is stronger, so that Canada is more robust? Is he going to probably log and put a pipeline? Yeah, he probably is. He will. Because as much as he values the nature and the First People's value, he does value that. But when it comes down to it, Carney's like, I got to put meat on the table. I got to feed my family. I gotta make this place successful but protected. And he's sitting above a meth lab. The United States has turned into a meth crack house, and he's like, we can't get any assistance. No military assistance from the United States. No, we can't even trust them. They might invade us. So he's double hustling, trying to make Canada a better place. Would I be happy if I lived there? I don't know, right? You have to we all have to look at what's happening and decide. We like you did this, we don't like this. And we have to get really rowdy. Canadians are going to have to get rowdy. We have to get rowdy. We have to get up in their face and say, okay, we're okay with this, but you went too far over here. Don't just let them do these things and then read about it in the news. We have to actually be the news ourselves. But when I read on him, I don't believe he's compromised. He is a conservative. I just always feel like he's been financially conservative. But I would also keep an eye on him because we need to keep an eye on everybody. That's how I feel about it. But this is connected to, let's talk about three things. Let's talk about Robert Reich. Let's talk about Mark Cuban, and let's talk about Jared Polis. Now, what does Mark Cuban, Robert Reich, and Jared Polis have in common? You'd be surprised. Let's start with Robert Reich. Robert Reich came out in support of Steyer, the billionaire of California. Robert Reich, the guy who writes about people's rights, who writes about socialism, who has a long history of being, I mean, it's like, what if Elizabeth Warren came out, right? Like, we'd be like, what is happening right now? So Robert Reich came out supporting Steyer. And that's really important because there's this sense that they want to get their own billionaire. There's this sense that the DNC is going to tell you, we cannot win this war with people like, don't yell at me, I am simply channeling, telling you right now. The energy suggests DNC is saying we cannot win this war with people like Buttigieg, who's a brilliant speaker, who's articulate, who's a debater, who's a small town mayor, who's a big cabinet guy, who's, just a great politician, right? That guy is really for the people. He gets it. DNC is saying that ain't gonna, we can't win against Musk. We can't win against Amazon guy, against Facebook guy. We can't. The DNC is saying we need a billionaire. We need to fight fire with fire. Now, I don't agree with this, but apparently Robert Reich agrees with this because they see somebody like Steyer can get in the boardrooms that somebody like Buttigieg couldn't, because let's face it, one is a billionaire and one is not. He can talk the language, he understands their motives, and they feel like these kinds of billionaires can move the needle when the average person cannot. I'm heartbroken. The Susan Lin component of this partnership is heartbroken about a couple of things here. But I've been heartbroken a lot. I got heartbroken when Kamala Harris, I got a lot, my heart has been broken a lot. And I would go back to what the guide said about a diamond. How does a diamond become a diamond? Well, through intense heat. Our hearts are going to be broken, but we are going to be stronger for it. Okay? Because this is reality. We just need to accept it. We've got to start accepting what we're seeing and stop wishing that things are different. The bottom line is Reich supports Steyer. I feel like, and I support Becerra. And honestly, I was in the car talking to my guides today because that's where I talk to them. I feel like Katie Porter could actually be a great governor. I think she would kick all the men in the nuts. You know what I mean? Like, I'm ready for an angry woman to do some damage. Fine, let's do it. Get your whiteboard out and do it. I'm happy for Becerra, but I'm starting to feel that the DNC, the same way they pulled the rug out from under Biden, pulled the rug out from under Kamala Harris. We saw you, Nancy. We saw you. They got their own plans. They even pulled the rug out from under Hillary. I think they pulled the rug out from under Gore. They just don't support people who are progressive. They don't. Okay. So that's one thing. I was feeling Becerra was going to win until Reich threw his support behind Steyer. Jane Fonda is supporting Steyer. Jane Fonda? Okay, so you see what's happening. You can see it. Okay, we need to acknowledge what we're seeing and stop pretending like it isn't happening, because it is happening. Because We need to go through the grieving process and move on. Okay, because the DNC is about to be dead to me. And I don't know where I'm going to go or where I'm going to be, but we're going to find ourselves in some annex somewhere and we're going to start a new party. Anyway, next, let's talk about Mark Cuban. Here's another one. Mark Cuban, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I always thought he was a jerk. I always blah blah blah." And then other people are like, "He's our savior. He's amazing." I was not in either camp with Mark Cuban. I recognized him as a savvy business person. I also recognized him as a jerk. And I also recognized him as somebody who has a little bit of a sweet spot for humans. A little. To be a billionaire, he actually has a little bit of a sweet spot for humans. The problem is Democrats swoon. They swoon. They're like, Mark Cuban, oh, no, we're not swooning anymore. We're not swooning anymore, right? We're like, we'll take it under advisement. We're still checking your dossier. We'll get back to you in 3 months when we've decided if you're good or not. Okay. We're not swooning for people anymore. Like Liz Cheney. Oh, she's a patriot. Adam Kinzinger. No. Massie. No. Okay. All right. We're on the same page. Why did Cuban do that? What did he do? Well, he through his very successful business, his very profitable business of whatever it is called, Cost Plus or whatever it is, his medical business, which a lot of people benefit from. So a lot of people are like, hey, I don't care if he puts on devil's horns and dances around naked. I'm getting my drugs at a reasonable price. And I'm going to say, do it. You see how complicated this is? You see, kind of hard to do the right thing when your drugs are $5 and otherwise they'd be $200. You are co-signing. You're now with the devil, whether you want to be or not. Okay. This is where we are. We just need to be honest. Let's not make fun of people. Let's not tear people down. People have to survive. Okay. So, because some of those people are going to be getting drugs from Trump RX. And that's going to make you throw up in your mouth and die inside. But we want you to stay alive. This is a time. This is a season. This is a really bad edition of USA 2026. And we're all going to say it sucked and it's not worth watching. And don't even watch it. It was the worst season ever of all of our seasons. Okay. This is just a season, but we do need to understand it. We need to talk about it. We need to forewarned is forearmed. When I saw Cuban, I saw a picture of him looking at Trump. And they all made a big deal about how he laughed at one of his jokes. But Cuban laughs as energetically. He laughs to cover up his face. He doesn't have a poker face. You can see when he's mad. You can see when he's irritated. So he developed this thing in childhood where he just laughs. That doesn't mean he's not going to right hook you. He'll laugh at you and then smack you. Okay. So I don't think the laugh was him liking Trump. I think in reality he was laughing at Trump. But anyway, why did Cuban throw all his goodwill and his amazing, goodwill is going to be big for us in 2027 because as buyers, if somebody else brings us another product, we'll just go over there. You see Target. Okay. But he wasted all that goodwill, right? I feel like, Mark Cuban is dead. He is dead, but if you had to buy his drugs because you would be dead, you would have to do it. It's complicated. So I feel like what happened there, I am not making excuses. Energetically, I feel like what happened there is the guides keep saying SEC, and this is also for entertainment purposes only and allegedly, and it's not facts. But I think that because Trump has the DOJ, he has the Security Exchange, he has everything. Trump has everything. This is a authoritarian. If he walked up to anybody and wanted to put them in jail, he could do it. Who's going to stop him? Is the media going to make a big deal? No. We don't even have Colbert anymore. So these big companies are sort of in the position of the oligarchs with Putin. You either do what he wants or you end up out of a window Or, in China too. China's always arresting billionaires and putting them in jail for something that nobody understands why. So I feel like Cuban was singled out. He was identified and singled out, and he may or may not allegedly have been playing a little fast and loose with some things in the Security Exchange, the SEC. And they have a little piece of evidence that they're about to make into a big thing. And also it was what do you call that? Character assassination. So Cuban said, checkmate. You got me. You got me. Okay, let's do this thing. But here's what I also saw when Cuban was looking at Trump. Cuban looked at Trump like he wanted to flambe him, like he was just waiting for his chance. Buddy, you bested me now, but I'm going to come out on top. I'm going to have your job. I'll be the czar, right? I will actually be the Amazon of medications. That's what Cuban is thinking. Cuban is thinking this guy's dumb as a rock. His kids are even dumber, if that's possible. And he's on his last legs. Fine. I'll play your little pony game. But as soon as you're gone, I'm going to be. Cuban has an ego. He wants to be the czar, and he feels like he can do it, right? So that's what's going on with that. Oh man. And then we have, because these things are connected, Robert Reich, Cuban, and Jared Polis. Why did Jared Polis commute, or whatever he did, the sentence of Tina Peters, who was the vote rigger in Colorado? Why? I want you guys to start asking these questions. Why is there a guy on Fox News with a hole in his neck that we can't explain? Why did Cuban all of a sudden capitulate? Why all of a sudden did Robert Reich capitulate? Why all of a sudden did Jared Polis capitulate? It appears that there's an energy shift, right? Or these people have been tricked into thinking there's an energy shift. Something is going on there. Something is going on there. So we need to just pay attention, because I think you're going to see more people capitulate. Robert Reich is rich, but what does that mean? Like, I mean, if he's rich, then he doesn't need his podcast. If he's rich, then he doesn't care what we think. It doesn't make sense. Do you see what I'm saying? I want you guys to think critically about this. Yeah, he's rich. So maybe what you're saying is he thinks that rich people solve problems, right? That I'm rich and I solve problems, and they solve problems. But something is going on there. I would say that the power is shifting. We talked about power vacuums, and everybody. Now, Jared Polis, I think, was just being stupid. I think that he folded before he had to fold. He doesn't have a backbone, and he's scared. And this is the end of his political career, basically. So, but I think that Mark Cuban is going to come out on head, because I think Mark Cuban will eat these people alive. He will literally eat them alive. And I think Robert Reich really believes that a billionaire is going to save us. Yeah, I agree with you. I think Reich was always a bit of a righty, a right wing. He was the bridge, right? Look, I'm just talking sense to you liberals. Like, I'm a liberal. You can trust me. And then he would throw in these right kind of conservative concepts, right? There's a thing called controlled opposition. I think we should all look at that. Controlled opposition. Paulus is more of a libertarian. Wow. Okay, well, that would make sense why he would commute or sentence them. No one is talking about neck, ma'am. I get it. Ukraine, question for Ukraine. Lucia Costello says, will Belarus enter the war? I have family in Western Ukraine, which is the area they'd likely target. Oh, I'm so sorry. You're probably pretty new to my channel, but I've been pro-Ukraine from the very beginning of this disaster, and we used to talk about it almost every week, really. Belarus. We can't trust. I'm just telling you what I'm getting. We can't trust Belarus. Oh, I guess we know we can't trust Belarus. They're not anybody's friends. Um, Belarus. Likely. I'm getting likely, yes. Likely, not 100%, because again, if they do anything like all the way in, it's going to trigger a lot of fear in Europe, and then Europe is going to start ratcheting up, and they don't want to do that. How do you boil a frog? Slowly. So you'll see a little bit more in, Belarus will be a little bit more involved, not too much, because we don't want to trip that wire for all these people to be excited about that. So, but I do think Belarus will be voicing, they'll be talking a lot about sending help. They'll be more vociferous. They're just going to talk more. Will they send people? They may send support like drones, or they may send some other kind of support to Russia, because as the United States power vacuum, exactly. See, the guys talked about power vacuum all last year. The United States has left a power vacuum in the whole world, right? So now what do we do, right? What does Europe do? What does Ukraine do? What does Canada do? The United States has evaporated. This is the country that was in everybody's business, that was the big brother that would go and be like, rah, we'll send a ship, we'll send a attaché, we'll send an ambassador. Now we're AWOL, we're gone. So then let me look at Western Ukraine. Did you say Western Ukraine? Yes, Western Ukraine. Um, I don't love the energy. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't love the energy of Western Ukraine. So that's over closer to Poland. Um, and I'm going to say too, from the beginning, I've said Poland is just looking for a reason. They're just give them a reason. They want a reason to beat Russia down. So I think that area close to the Polish border is disputed. It could be, that would be a bad decision for them. But again, these people want a world war, because then these billionaires make a lot of money off of war. And people are more controllable during wars. It's a distraction. I don't see it happening right now, but I don't like the energy. I'm just going to tell you right now, I don't feel good. I don't feel good about the energy. I don't see a wholesale takeover of Western Ukraine, but I see more infiltration, the guides are saying. So there could be more attacks in Western Ukraine. And I'm telling you, we are keeping you in our prayers every day, all day, really and truly. I am so sorry. We are huge Ukraine supporters here, really and truly. Um, right, right. Okay, what else are we talking about here? Polis was about water. About water, he right. That's right. You're right, Donna. So uh I think Trump was saying, we're going to deny you the federal funds you were supposed to get unless you commute her sentence, and he did. He just did. But I think that's what I mean when I say he doesn't have a backbone. And also what we talked about earlier about when presidents or leaders have to say, well, if I do this stupid thing right here, I can get these millions of dollars to my constituents that need it. Or do I do this to the White House and let her stay in jail, and then my constituents suffer? These are not easy choices, right? So he was like, no, I don't care about this woman. Just give me but the problem with negotiating with a terrorist is that there's never an end. This is what the Democrats don't understand. It doesn't stop. It escalates. Oh, okay. Well, I got that out of you. Let's try for some more. So really, maybe another stance is, no, I'm not going to do it. And if you if you hurt my constituents as governor, I'm going to use my little pot of money and I'm going to advertise to all Coloradans who's causing this, right? So instead of like falling to your knees and giving the terrorists, the narcissists what they want, tell everybody who's the real problem. The real problem is this guy over here. It's not me. You're not getting your money because of him. That's what I mean about a backbone, right? Oh, the Pentagon Pizza Index is spiking. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, if you don't know about the Pentagon Pizza Index, Google it, but they have so many irons in the fire. Remember when I told you guys I was so worried about Cuba? Remember? I was like, oh my God, I'm so worried about Cuba. There's famine going on. I kept talking about it. And they're back to saying they're going to attack Cuba now, because he thinks that he can attack. First you starve them. Look, we did this. The United States did this to Native Americans. We did all these things to Native Americans. So we've been horrendous people. We're not saints over here. So he's starving them. No power, no medical, no nothing. Then when they walk in, they're going to be heroes because they're going to flip on the lights. And then he'll take over all of that beautiful coastal land because that's what he wants. He wants to put Trump, he wants to make it Trump Cuba. He wants to put all his, resorts. And then also the Cuban Americans in Florida will be like loving Trump because now their people are free. You have to think like these crazy, diabolical, sociopath, narcissist, authoritarian criminals. So, right. So here's a comment about Steyer. Michelle says, I heard Steyer talk today. He says he's for taxing billionaires, he's for the environment, for single payer health insurance, Medicare for all. The other guy is taking money from big oil. Well, I would say, Michelle, that maybe Steyer said those things, and I hope that he's true. I hope that he really does those things. But I would also say that you would have to prove to me that Becerra is taking money from big oil because you didn't even use his name. I don't think you have done the research on that, but please show us if you have. And I would just say that we have to be more critical thinking. Okay, we just have to. And if Steyer gets in California, Michelle, I hope that if he lets you down, that you let him know. And I hope that if he does the right thing, you let him know. But I hope that you're an active participant in our democracy. But that also means knowing the other guy's name and being able to, quote sources. If you're going to quote one person's source, I think it'd be good to quote somebody else's source as well. Yeah, we have to watch all these people. We just have to be more aware. I'm wrong about Robert Reich. Okay. Well, what am I wrong about? He is supporting Steyer. That's all I said. I said sometimes he can be conservative. I think that's correct. And but I can agree to disagree with you. That's fine. I don't know which part I'm wrong about, but that's cool. Is there a chance Mark may be saving face is on the team and that he may come in to help when Trump's pulled out? I mean, well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If you listen to Mark Cuban, he says his own words are, I'm here to help people. I'm helping people. I'm helping people that can't afford their prescriptions. It does not matter if I'm with Trump or not. The stated purpose is to help people, and that's what I'm doing. The problem with that is that that's like saying, well, I'm with Hitler, and Hitler is not really doing anything that I care about. I'm just trying to give people cheap meds. And yeah, he might be killing people, but I don't know anything about that part. I'm just trying to give you cheap meds. It doesn't work like that, right? Like this, you can't, I'm sorry. You can't just say Trump is who he is, right? He's basically Hitler. So I think we have to think about it like that. But I did say all that. I said I think Mark is trying to be the czar after this is over. he wants to, I think he does have an altruistic vision of, I want to make medications cheaper and still make 15 to 30% profit. It's a killer business proposition, right? And in this case, he's a billionaire, and maybe he's getting it done because he is a billionaire, right? But I think it's unfortunate that he sided with Trump to do this, and I think he did that because they forced him to. I don't think he would have done it if he. This man stumped for Kamala. This man stumped for Kamala. This is what I'm telling you. When I told you guys, we would be surprised that Democrats would surprise us, that people would surprise us. Look at Jared Polis, surprise. Look at Cuban, surprise. Maybe Reich is a surprise, maybe he isn't, but we're going to be surprised by people, and we need to just kind of, instead of just saying I cut you off, let's think about where their motives are. Can they be helpful? Is this, and then maybe you do cut them off. I don't know. It does look like an unhealed tracheotomy. That's what I said earlier. But he could have worn a suit jacket with a tie, and you really wouldn't seen it. I don't think you would see it. And I don't know if it's in the right place. To me, it's over to the side. I'm not a doctor, but and nobody's even saying like it's an unhealed, they're not even making excuses for it. They're not even trying to make an excuse for it. So what is Mickey Walk saying? You're saying there are a lot of conservatives who got left behind by the radical Republican Party. They are still fiscally conservative and support Constitution, and now constitutional is rad left. And now constitutionalism is radical left. Right, exactly. No, I agree with you. That's why I've seen the Republican Party splitting. That's why I've seen the Democratic Party splitting. That's why I think Tulsi Gabbard parachuted out of the Republican Party. I think that's why Cheney got out. I mean, of course they were voted out, but they're going to circle back around and create their own version of whatever that is that you're seeing here, more of the Republican Party that's fiscal Republican and maybe not social, right? Socially restrictive. But yeah, I think it's going to be pretty broken up. I think everything is going to be broken up. Ukraine has fortified against Belarus. That's good. I think you guys, it's just like I said about Taiwan. China is going to be talking smack. They're going to be scaring Taiwan, but at the same time, they're going to be convincing other countries, hey, we're doing this for the own good. I just think for Ukraine and Belarus, be careful that you're going to see more more vociferous stuff from Belarus, like more grandstanding. It's just meant to scare you. And unfortunately it can scare you. Why are US troops being sent to Poland? I didn't know they are. See, Poland is also, I'm just reading the energy of what you said. Have not looked it up. I don't know anything about this, but the energy suggests that, again, if you're Poland and you can't really trust Trump and you hate him, yet they want to send troops, it's almost like, well, it's better than nothing, right? So I mean, because my question was, why would Poland allow that? Well, I think we have a base there. Yeah, we have a base there. So we have a contract they can't really control. I don't know why they're sending troops to Poland. They don't know what they're doing. How can I read them when they don't know why they're doing the things they're doing? They don't know. One hand is doing this, another hand is doing that, another person is doing that, another person is doing that. Nobody knows what anybody's doing. And that's part of the process of just making it chaotic. But I think they could be going to Poland for excuse me, for the guides are saying for positioning, redirecting, positioning. Look, I wouldn't be surprised. I swear to God, I wouldn't be surprised if this administration sent our troops into Ukraine to help Russia. I would not be surprised. I'm not saying that's happening. I'm saying that, again, if you're reading the energy, you're reading what their wishes are. Can they get it done? No. We all have wishes we can't have. But they're just sending troops out to put again, it's like China putting pressure on Taiwan. They're putting pressure on other countries. Just the idea of all the ships are out there, right? Just it sends a message. This is sending a message that we have troops and we are deploying them. God have mercy. See, this is what I'm saying about my heart being broken 1,000 times. I love Fiona says, I saw today that Cohen is applying to get some of the slush fund money. I'm getting no. I could be wrong, but I'm getting no. So this is the slush fund money. Isn't this the slush fund money that Trump created for anybody who thinks that they got done wrong by Biden or something like that? I could be wrong, but I think yeah, no, I don't think the Belarusian people are for this or for attack. They're not for attacking anybody. They don't want war. They don't want this. They want to build up their own personal lives, you know? They're not for this. Belarus is a puppet of Putin. Yes, absolutely. I don't think Putin is gone. Let me ask. I mean, I could be wrong, you guys, but I don't think so. You know, the problem with reading energy, he can appear to be gone. You know, like, look, when I go into Jack Smith's energy, he's gone. Jack Smith is gone, left the building. Can't find him. Doesn't mean he's dead. It means that he has retreated. He's pulled his energy back in. That's a smart thing to do. Okay? You've cut the cords. He's not on media. He's not connected. He's retreated. This is Putin. Putin has retreated. Now, in Putin's position, I think he's retreated because he's got, health issues and safety issues. Because I think China is putting pressure on Putin and putting pressure on Russia because China wants a big chunk of Russia as well. They may want Taiwan. They just want to control Taiwan. They want to control Taiwan without people knowing that they're controlling them. They don't want to be seen as bad. China doesn't, they need to be seen as good, mostly. So they're the ones I originally talked about being like having the Red Riding Hood, over the wolf. That's China. And red too, right? So when I said security with Putin, I saw China coming in. So I don't think he's gone yet. But all this stuff is collapsing, and you can see it by people like Tulsi getting out of the way, Massie getting out of the way. You're going to start seeing people who want to have a career and perhaps their lives getting out of the way. And that's how you know this thing is getting ready to like collapse or whatever. I think MAGA, I think if you're still a MAGA, you are cult, what are they saying? Cult, you're gonna find a new cult. Okay, so like it was Q, then it was MAGA, and there'll be another cult. They're just that's where they feel vindicated. They feel vindicated being in a cult. So once MAGA's out, they'll be in a new cult. And the difference is that this MAGA cult was organized by Trump, right? That cult of personality, which was really based on racism. I'm sorry, but it is. It just is. It's not about anything other than racism. And I will damage myself to be able to put that person down, right? So I think MAGA will change. This is going to take a process for us to work through all of this, but I think they won't be in charge of government. Let's put it that way. You know, the guy was saying, imagine, this is what they did for me on Jan 6th. Okay. On Jan 6th, I will never forget this. Like, we all remember where we were when Elvis died or whatever. Like, I'll never forget this. I was walking the dogs in a forest, like a park forest, city forest. And my friend called and said they're attacking the White House. They're not going to do the transfer of power, blah, blah, blah. And I was freaked out, and I was in this beautiful woods. And my guide said, this is going to be you. You're going to feel the same way. You're going to be rushing the White House. And at the time I was like, y'all shouldn't be drinking so early in the morning. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, these people are clearly psychotic and unhinged and in a cult. Well, here we are so many years later, and truly we could be doing that. Truly, we believe just as passionately that the wrong person is in the White House. Okay. They also said to me, we might have in the future a cult of environmentalists like Earth First. Look that up if you're not familiar with them. Earth First. When I was a young teenager, maybe even younger, I don't know, I used to pay, like 59 cents and get their stuff. I'm probably on an FBI list from that. The Earth First people were radical. They chained themselves to redwoods. They did wild things in the name of the environment. So there are going to be cults, whether it's an environmental cult or whether it's a reverse, we're really the patriots here. So there's just going to be passions that are going to happen in these next 8 and 10 years that are going to be, people are going to be ruled by their passions, and they may be called to be in a cult of some kind, right? And, we might be happily in a cult of environmentalist, right? Or whatever that is. Or even a cult of femininity or cult of the feminine. I'm going to get down here to the end. Thanks, everybody, for joining me tonight. We're talking politics. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic medium, and I have another channel called Susan Lynn Spiritual Way Shower on YouTube, Spiritual Way Shower, where I give you help to grow your soul. And if you scan that QR code, you can go to my website and learn about my online community, which is free, and my other online community, and my website, my newsletter, all the things. What else is happening over here? Okay, you're hoping I'm going to address something. I was way up here in the chat, y'all. I was like an hour. Y'all were like, she's talking about stuff an hour ago. Who did you want me to talk about? What is it? Let's see. Is Rubio going to India? India is a very big player. The guides talk about India all the time. It's a great, big, huge country. It's a country filled of workers. They produce things for us. They want to take on China to be the bigger producer. They want to carve out their position in world order. They have their own problems inside the country, because I think inside the country there's a lot of infighting. But Modi is like, don't look at that. Just pay attention to me. I'm India. We're one united, and we're going to do these things. So India is really, so if Rubio is going there, it's because of that. It's because, again, everybody wants to make a deal with the United States. And if they have to make a deal with a sociopath authoritarian, they will. They're used to doing this. They go to other countries, maybe some countries in Africa, maybe some countries in South America, where they're authoritarian countries, and they make deals with those authoritarian leaders because they need to. That's, it's kind of the thing. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying that's why he's there. I don't know what that question was, but Cat Mom, you might want to put it back in the chat again if somebody wants me to talk about it. Will the United States, the Nikki P says, will the United States survive another 250 years? Yes. Yes. Unequivocally, yes. Will we be called the United States? Will we be the United States? I don't know what that means. We're talking about oceanic. I don't understand what oceanic, so 250 years, right? Like, are we underwater? You know what I mean? Are we, Like 250 years. Think about, go back 250 years. So I think they said the word oceanic. I don't know if that means that there's going to be a lot more oceans covering us. And so we're going to be here, but I don't know in what format or whatever you want to call that. Knitting Cult Lady is great. You guys not following her? She's super great. Really, she says everything that you're thinking, and she says it in a very articulate, funny way. And she's knitting. Um, cult of the feminine is trad wife. Well, I think the cult of the feminine is the antithesis of the trad wife. It's the antithesis. That's interesting that we have decided that feminine means subservience, right? But I think we're going to take that back. I think we're going to take that word back, and I think we're actually going to be um, much different. Yeah, Greenpeace. Greenpeace was also big, but Earth First was like the ones that went to prison. Greenpeace went to jail. Earth First went to prison. Uh, Good night, Sally. Thank you for joining us. Um, let's see here. Nathan again says, racist, absolutely. How do we solve the problem of racism? What do you think? You think might help, perhaps true, perhaps safety, perhaps establishing a foundation for the rest of perspective life. That's all true, but we have to choose it. Are we choosing it? We're not choosing it, folks. We're not choosing it right now. But we have to choose. I can't, say that humans are going to do it or not do it. We have to work through the process of choosing it. And I'll say this. The guides just said how we're choosing it is this. We're evolving. Because today, the odds of you having a mixed race in your family, mixed religion, or LGBTQ or trans is much higher than it was 5 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago. We didn't have 50 years ago. What? LGBTQ? No. There were laws against interracial marriage. And now it's the norm. It's really more the norm than it's not. So this is how we're moving the needle to get rid of MAGA, to get rid of this idea of separation, because we are blending the races together. And now we have trans that are very courageous, that are coming out here and blending the sexes together. This is how we're evolving. This is how we're going to solve this. They can do whatever they want, but humans themselves are acting on their own authority, their own wishes, and solving this generation by generation. Ebola. What's interesting is that I know the guy that, so I lived in Galveston for a while, Galveston, Texas. And Galveston, Texas has a University of Medical Texas branch. And guess what? They have one of those high secretive uh, labs there that people go to as dead people to have autopsies done on them for Ebola. I know the guy who got fired or who lost his funding, who researches Ebola. I've been to his house. So yeah, that's happening, right? Like when Ebola is kind of spiking, our government is saying, no, we're cutting funding for that. So you put it all together and you wouldn't be wrong to say that this government wants us all to, become less of us. Um, I don't see Ebola becoming a real threat to the United States. Um, I don't see it. It our lack of having being in the World Health Organization, our lack of having vaccines, our lack of trusting science, our lack of having a working government is all problematic when it comes to any kind of virus, be it measles, mumps, Ebola, hantavirus, what would they said last Friday? Chikungunya. All these viruses are going to start becoming more prevalent. I don't see them becoming a pandemic that shut the United States down, but I have seen like an airport here being shut down or a city here being on restriction. it's a slow disintegration of our government, is it not? Right? So then you have governors that have to step up and say, you remember how hard it was to get people to shut down during the pandemic? They wouldn't shut their businesses down. They wouldn't wear masks. This is a problem. This is a real problem. I'm not going to lie. This is a real problem. But it's going to end up hurting the billionaires more than anybody. They're actually, again, shooting themselves in their own foot. So what's the answer? The answer is what the answer has been this whole video and always is. We have to take care of ourselves. If you're immunocompressed, then impressed, then you might not want to go to the concert. You might want to wear a mask. You may want to reduce your your activities. If you have a feeling, an intuitive hit about, I don't think I want to go to that concert or that event, then maybe you don't, right? We can self, this is what the guide said last weekend. We will self isolate. We will put ourselves in the isolation. We can't count on the government. The government is broken, gone, over, done for right now anyway. So we have to just create best practices for ourselves, is what the guides are saying. I would also say that somebody may have asked in the starred questions about, which means that you were here earlier and I just went and starred it so I could find later. But I wanted to say about our military, about the people, the sailors on the ships. I don't have your question right here. Yes, here it is. Okay. Here's your question. Sharika says, hi, Susan, look at the food supply issues from Navy personnel currently at sea. They are starving. I think they are getting malnourished. I don't know if I would, the guides are like starving is a whole definition, but they would say malnourished. Okay. But here's where I think is going to be sort of a savior for them, but also one of those weird things that you wouldn't count as being a good. You know how when you go on cruise ships and they have those outbreaks of norovirus, it's very, 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 what do you call that? Contagious. Norovirus is super contagious. And it's a terrible intestinal disease. You're throwing up, diarrhea, whatever. But the big problem is it's super contagious. So I think that the Navy and these ships are going to have some sort of norovirus, some kind of, it doesn't have to be that one, but it could be some kind of just virus that goes through the ship. And believe me, that ship will be in port. That ship will be at port ASAP, because nobody wants to the captain, the admiral, whoever they are, the officers, nobody wants to be on that ship. So I think that that's going to be a thing. Unfortunately, you might hear about, but I think it's sort of like a weird prayer, because these sailors can get back to a port where they can actually get some food and some real care. But we have to do things like, I would ask you, Sharika, to contact your congressperson if you're in the Navy or you know somebody in the Navy, families in the Navy. We've got to be brutally just combative and just get in their face and get on TV and be on the street corner. The average person doesn't know. They do not know this stuff. We've got to educate them, get on the street corner with signs, let people know that. Cat Mom. Okay, this is the question you guys are all talking about. This just in, something up with Trump, cancel plans, return to DC. What do your guys say? Well, he does this once a week or every 2 weeks. He goes, they call it dental work. This is the joke now. Everybody's like, oh, he's getting his dental work done. But what he does is he gets infusions. He gets, the guides are saying life-saving care. And right now, when I go into that energy, I'm actually having a hard time breathing. Like it's uncomfortable for me to take, it's hard. It's like hard to breathe. That's all I can tell you, is that I feel like something is sitting on my chest. I think that's a heart attack, right? I think that's a heart attack. Let me just look. Feels like it feels like chest compressions are being done because I can feel it in my physical body. And Barry, if you guys know, that's the blood clot that was coined by Petty Boots, who's on Sunday night, Jen Lynn, Johnny Tro's Prentice, and Becca. But we root for Barry. Barry's the name of the blood clot, but it's also Barack Obama's nickname. So anyway, like I am really like I'm holding my chest. Like it is bad. It's bad. It's more worse than we think. It's worse than we think. And I'm also getting something coming up the back of my neck, like behind my ears into my brain, like right here on either side. Like, I don't know what that is. Something is traveling right here. Carotid artery. Isn't that here? But I'm feeling, I just heard carotid artery, but I'm getting something weird into my head. So it could be a stroke. It could be an embolism. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. I'll get out of it. I'm kind of if it was really it disappeared from my chest and it went to my head. So now my chest feels clear. I don't feel the heaviness, but I feel trauma. I feel traumatized. Something has been damaged here, but now it's into my head. Like right back here. Why would it be there? What is that? Pain radiates, could be hard. What would it be back here in the back of my head? Aneurysm, infarction, aneurysm. It's back. It's really weird, man. It's not pain. It's a weird, buzzy feeling. So yeah, he could be. The problem is this guy's got 27 lives. Literally 27 lives, right? Like I know he had a near-death experience when he was walking down my hall wearing a diaper. So, and we won't know. No one's going to tell us because look, there's a guy with an open whatever is happening on Fox News. We are living in an alternate reality right now where there's no truth. Truth is just it's just not going to happen. We have to just take care of ourselves. We need to ground our energy, really take care of ourselves, right? Everybody, that's really the most, if you really want to know how to get through this, that's what we really need to do. Frontotemporal lobe. I did get that early on. That's what my guide said. Woo, my head is starting to, woo. Okay, then my head is starting to get involved over here. It went up and now it's like in my, it's not great. It's not great. It's a lot going on right here. And then radiating into the top of my head. So that's, I wouldn't say he's having a good time, whatever he's doing. Vagus nerve. I don't know what that is. Aorta. I don't know. All I can tell you is this is what's happening. Everybody's like, get out, Susan, get out. Yeah, I won't stay in there. I won't stay in there. I'm glad that it got out of my chest because that was like an elephant sitting on my chest. Medulla oblongata. Sounds like a rock band. His medulla oblongata. Okay. Yeah, it's like totally buzzing, burning in my head. They're showing me if you took don't ask me. This is my life, y'all. If you took if you cut somebody's head off, like, you know what I mean? Like if you did a line around their head just right here and you took the top off, that's what I feel like this is, like something is happening right around there. Yeah, I'm going to get out of it. Did Kevin say anything? I didn't see Kevin's comment. Kevin, are you getting anything about what's happening? Because Kevin's not stupid. He's like, I didn't go in that energy. I ain't no dummy. Yeah. It could be affecting his vision. He is having vision he cannot see right now. He's got impaired vision. My brain, this is what needs to stop happening. This has got to get out of my brain because my brain is like starting to hurt. So some good astrology sounds like. What does this say? Purple Whoops, sorry. Purple says Sun Uranus Kazemi, meaning sudden shocks and surprises. Let's start rooting for that. Purple Algeria. Let's start rooting for Uranus and Sun and a Kazini. I support. Oh man. Yeah, right. Stent. I don't think he's getting blood flow in the back of the head. That's exactly what it is. It's aneurysm is an an abnormal bulge, right? Brain, cerebral aorta. I wonder if it started in his chest and went to his head. I'm telling you now, I'm feeling it in my eyes. I just said I couldn't see. Like when I'm in his energy, I can't, everything is blurry. Now I'm feeling pressure around my eyes. I don't know, guys. You never know. Let me just could this affect his speech? Yes, it could. I have seen him. I one of there's multiple potentials here. One was that he's talking um and you can't understand him. What are you saying, Kevin? I mean, I can feel energy around both. Okay, cool. Share Spirit says, I'm sure he's just at the dentist. Exactly. He's just at the dentist, that's all. Uh Once he was getting his hair all done up, I knew he was sliding downhill. No, I'm not getting your hopes up because I don't think this. I'm not sure this is going to kill him. I think it's just that he's got. I mean, yeah, I you could take some glee in him suffering, um, but yeah, yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. It's subsiding. It's subsiding. Um, when I go into the energy, the eyes are out of focus. Like I can't see any. Like everything's got Vaseline on it. And then there's look. I just went back into the energy. All right, there we go again. There is pressure right here under my eyes, and it just keeps going around my head. Like somebody's got a, like a razor wire, and they're tightening it around my head, around just all the occipital. What does occipital mean? They just said the word occipital. Occipital. Oh, back of the head, lower rear of the skull. The term is used in anatomy to describe two primary structures, the occipital bone. That doesn't help. Let's just ask, Google when he's going to die. An occipital stroke occurs when blood flow to the occipital lobe at the back of the brain is interrupted either by a clot, ischemic, or a bleed, hemorrhagic, because the occipital lobe is primarily responsible for processing sight. The hallmark symptom is sudden visual loss or visual disturbances. There you go, guys. There in real time. There you have it. So I read it. That the occipital. They said the word occipital clear as day to me. It's not a word that I would know, uh, but it's very. I know. Look, I don't know how we're going to do it. I'm going to sign off in just a second. I don't know how we're going to do it because we have to be a little careful, but we are going to have to celebrate. We're going to have to all get on somebody's channel and celebrate. I don't know how we're going to do it, but believe me, when this happens, we're all going to drop everything and jump on some channel, and we're all going to celebrate together. I may not shoot off a cannon of confetti because, again, this is a different land and a different world, and we don't want anybody to get into trouble, especially me, because I have this platform, right? But my head is killing me. Please see Kevin's cue before you go. Okay, Kevin, what is your cue? Okay, Susan, do you feel my head is killing me. Do you feel him rushing back to DC for health or for Iran airstrikes? Iran closed airspace and our ships are retreating back. Do I see him rushing back to DC for healthcare? He could be near Germany. If he is out of the United States, I'm not sure if he is, my head. But if he is near Germany, I think he might go to Cologne, Germany, for care because he doesn't have much time. There, he could use a stent, but look, he has Kennedy on board. Do you think Kennedy's going to save his ass? Kennedy's going to be like, I call dibs on the dead penis. You know what I mean? Come on. Who's going to save this man, right? Like, but my head is killing me. And it's like in the back. Yeah, occipital. Yeah, I looked it up. It controls sight. It's like right there. It's right where the guide said that this is. But I want to get rid of this energy because I sure as hell don't need it. I do think they'll try to rush him back, Kevin, but I'm not sure that he'll make it. I don't know that he'll make it. What is today? The 22nd. There is some good astrology, so that's good. Yeah, I know I need to drink some things. I don't know if I want to say whether he's going to make it. I feel like he's going to make it. I feel like he's going to make it. I feel like it's but it's a deterioration. So again, you guys, if they can put a guy on the screen with like a gaping mask or a hole or I don't know what that was, but it wasn't human, it wasn't real. If they can do that, then can they put Trump on the screen where he's clearly like half of his face is, lopsided, and they have an AI voice track? Are we as a country just going to go on as life as usual? Like, I wonder if they're preparing us for this, right? Yeah. I have seen Weekend at Bernie's, Mark. We've all talked about Weekend at Bernie's. He could, of course, they don't want any leader that, besides Kennedy, who got shot in public, any leader that dies, there's a history. The guides are telling me there's a president that they did that. They hid him. They didn't let anybody know that he had died. So yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll clear my energy after this, Kevin. You better believe it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to like take a serious. I mean, I pick up energy. It's not something out of the usual for me, but I don't go into his energy because his energy is so skanky. I don't do it. So it just kind of it was instant. So thank you everybody. I appreciate it. Yeah, I hope RFK Jr. treats him too. I do too, and I hope he has a little rabbit foot keychain, a good luck charm for prison. Because it's a mushroom. We know that from Stormy Daniels, right? So it'll look just like a rabbit foot, and he can take that to prison with him. Yeah, I'm going to do all kind of baths, sage bath, energy bath, plus some other things. So yeah, it's okay. It's all right. Let's just see what happens. Maybe it'll be a good weekend for us. Likely he will disappear. You know what I mean? Likely they will have to disappear him for a while to get a narrative or to get, just depends. It depends. Another angle, another timeline is that, JD wants to move in there. So, if he gets sick enough, they can just kind of push him over. And then JD's like, it's me, everybody. I'm your new president. You know what I mean? So that's another potential as well. We're just going to have to grab your crystals. Exactly. Grab your crystals is funny, actually. We need that on a t-shirt. Right. Diane is right. We need to take care of ourselves because people are going to be freaking out. That's not going to be us. We're going to be calm, cool, collected, minding our own business. We're going to acquire our health, acquire our wealth. We're going to be doing our thing. This world can go crazy. We're not on that train. We're not on that ride. Let them do what they're doing. And we're going to be doing what we do. And I'm feeling better. So I'm a lot of nurses in the chat. Okay, good. I had to look up occipital because they said it clear as day. And then it actually described everything that I was feeling. Coming back into my chest now. Now it's coming back into my chest. So they probably resuscitated that MFer. and he coded again, and now they're resuscitating him again. Yeah, I have black tourmaline. I'm going to find it. You're right. This is hematite. This is pretty good. Yeah, I'm going to put this right. I'm going to figure out what feels good on my heart. So the way I do it is I go around all my crystals, and whatever feels good on my heart or healing, then I use that. That's just how I tune into it. So if it feels bad, I don't use it. If it feels nothing, I don't use it. If it feels good, I use it. This hematite, I think this is hematite, is feeling pretty good right now. Vervain is really good too. Watch the beginning of the video because I talked about the guy in the mask a lot. I'm not. It could be a mask, but it's really more about the fact that why did they show it to us? I don't want us to get caught up on the distraction. I want us to go figure out why they have a delay on live TV. Why didn't they cut it out? Why didn't they switch to the other person? Why did they let us watch this guy for 2 minutes? So they wanted us to see it. Why do they want us to see it, right? Like if they put Trump up there and we know that it's an AI version of him, why did they do that? What are they trying to get away with? We want to be smarter. We want to look behind the scenes of these manipulations and distractions. All right, everybody, I'm going to sign off. Yeah, I'm not sure this is the end either. It would be too nice, right? It would be too good for us to just get an ending. I think that it's probably like a more Orwellian, like you said here, more discernment, more scare everybody what's happening. You know, these people are already susceptible to cults. Now they've got a guy that looks like a lizard with gills and you know, and now their president's going to be acting weird. It's just going to make them all go off the deep end even more. That's why I'm saying we need to shelter in place. We need to take care of ourselves. Yeah, he's got to go sometime, or he's going to go for sure. He's going to go. If he can't speak, they'll just do an AI version of him. They have really good AI versions of him, really, really good. So then it's going to be a ride. That's why I'm saying let's not get on the roller coaster. Let's not get on it. Let's know kind of what's happening, but basically let's take care of ourselves, right? Okay, everybody, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to go take care of myself. I've got my stuff on my heart, feels better. Everything's going to be okay. We've got each other. We're supporting each other. Always remember that. We've got a community, and this community became a thing because of him. We weren't a community before him. He's the reason we're here. He gave us this gift of each other. We're always going to have it. We're always going to have each other. Okay, just keep remembering that. And we're going to be selenite. Okay, I'll do that too. Got selenite. I got amethyst. I've got you know, oh, this is smoky quartz. I'm loaded up. I'll be good. All right, everybody. Much love. Take good care, everybody. I'll see you next time. Take good care.